45 minutes before kickoff, a goalkeeper walks out onto an empty pitch. Alone. No teammates. No cameras pointed at him yet. And he does the exact same sequence of movements he's done before, every single match, for years. Commentators call it a warm-up. Fans call it superstition. But almost nobody, not pundits, not fans, not even most coaches, actually knows what this ritual is for. And the real answer has almost nothing to do with luck. Every goalkeeper has one. Courtois has one. Neuer has one. Even an 11-year-old keeper at a Sunday league match has one. And for decades, the assumption has been simple. It's just nerves. A way to feel less scared before 90 minutes of being the last line of defense. But sports psychologists have spent years studying this. And what? They found splits every single one of these rituals into two completely different categories. Categories that look identical from the stands, but work in opposite ways. Here's what almost no analysis video tells you. There isn't one kind of pre-match ritual. There are two. And professional sports psychologists treat them as entirely separate tools. The first is called a pre-performance routine. This is task-specific, evidence-based. Every action in it exists because it trains something the keeper will actually need in 90 minutes. The second is a pre-game ritual, inherited, superstitious, culturally passed down. Touching a post 3 times, wearing the same base layer, stepping onto the pitch right foot first. For years, coaches tried to eliminate the second category. Treat it as noise. But here's the part that changes everything. Some sports psychology consultants now do the opposite. They deliberately build the superstition into the official training routine. On purpose. Why would you formalize something irrational? That's where this gets strange. The answer comes from something called the illusion of control effect. And it's counterintuitive enough that most people get it backwards. You'd think a ritual works because the keeper believes it will help him save the ball, but that's not it. The ritual lowers his anxiety precisely because he isn't rationally evaluating whether it works. The moment logic enters, does tapping this post actually change anything? Doubt creeps in behind it. In other words, the less sense it makes, the more it works. Which means the goalkeepers who look the most superstitious from the stands might actually be running the most effective anxiety management system in football. Take the most famous ritual in the sport. Touching both posts before kickoff. Everyone assumes it's for luck. It's not. It's spatial calibration. By physically touching the frame of the goal, the keeper is encoding the exact distance between himself and both posts into muscle memory, through touch, not sight, before his brain has to make that judgment in a fraction of a second under pressure. It's not superstition. It's a rehearsal his nervous system runs before the real test begins. Look closer at Thibaut Courtois' warm-up, and you'll notice something most broadcasts cut away from. It's not just stretching and handling drills. He runs short reflex sequences and lateral diving drills to sharpen his footwork. And then something more specific. Balls thrown at different speeds, deliberately, to recalibrate how fast his eyes can track a moving object. That's not a warm-up in the traditional sense. That's active recalibration of his visual prediction system every single match. Because if he doesn't reset it, his read on the first shot of the game is a guess, not a read. Now here's a version of this almost nobody talks about. Because it isn't even the keeper's own ritual. During the 1998 World Cup, French defender Laurent Blanc kissed goalkeeper Fabien Barthez's bald head before every single match. Barthez didn't choose this ritual. His teammate did. and it became one of the most famous superstitions in World Cup history. Which raises a question nobody asks. If the ritual isn't even the keeper's own belief, if it's someone else's anxiety being managed through him, what does that tell you about what these rituals are actually protecting? Everyone assumes the ritual a keeper does after conceding is just to settle his own nerves. That's only half true. Elite goalkeeper protocols include a specific reset sequence after a mistake, a short breath, a return to base position, and, critically, direct eye contact with the back line. That eye contact isn't for the keeper's benefit. It's a signal to the defense. It says, "I'm still in control. Don't panic." In other words, the ritual you assumed was self-soothing is actually a leadership broadcast. Timed within seconds of the worst moment of his match, you'd assume the music a goalkeeper listens to before kickoff exists to pump him up. For outfield players, that's often true. For goalkeepers, it can be the opposite. Some use a specifically chosen playlist to lower their activation level. Because a keeper's job is mostly reactive stillness, broken by split-second explosions. Too much adrenaline before kickoff doesn't sharpen him. It works against him. While the striker is trying to get louder in his own head, the keeper, for 90 minutes, is often trying to get quieter. This isn't just a professional phenomenon. Researchers surveying teenage footballers found rituals this specific. Avoiding eye contact with the keeper before taking a penalty, using the exact same bathroom stall before every match, high-fiving the same teammate in the same order every time, and one example stands out. A player who kept wearing a bandage on an old injury long after it healed, simply because he played well once while wearing it. That's not superstition forming randomly. That's the brain hardwiring a coincidence into a permanent routine, starting as young as 11 years old. And here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. In parts of West Africa, deeply culturally rooted pre-game rituals are so embedded in football that some sports psychology consultants aren't trying to remove them anymore. They're studying how to formally fold these rituals into official pre-performance routines, treating a practice most Western coverage would dismiss as superstition as a legitimate psychological tool. While most football media treats this topic as a Europe-only story, Neuer, Courtois, Allison. The most interesting research on ritual and performance is happening somewhere almost nobody's cameras are pointed. So the next time you see a goalkeeper tap both posts, cross himself, or run through a sequence that looks like nervous habit, you're not watching superstition. You're watching a nervous system being deliberately recalibrated seconds before the most reactive job in sport begins. It's not luck. It's not nerves. It's a system, built one ritual at a time. If this changed the way you'll watch the next match, subscribe